Glorious day to you, my friends. Welcome to day number 24 of being. Blissful existence, illuminating and nurturing grace. Or can be becoming empty. Because isahatata iso ushayewukoryutata. Today, the title came from 3 license plates, GUS. 3 times. When I saw 2 right next to each other, I go, okay, what are you trying to tell me? And then when I saw the 3rd one, it's just like, yeah, we already had the title. Gleefully Unlimiting Spirit. When they showed me those 2, they reminded me of how we're going about this during the first 55 days. So I'm going to change my language today. So for 144 days, we're going to be chanting, we're going to be breathing, spending time with spirit, our inner being, and all these ideas of spirit that we believe and think that are outside of us. Excuse me. Water is life. So the imagery of these 144 days is we're spiraling up the Great Pyramid. And while we're spiraling up it, we're using the Fibonacci sequence, okay? Spiraling up the Great Pyramid to the edge of the matrix, this physicality, what we think is this universe, poking our head through the hub of the Dharma chakra. As this Dharma chakra turns everything, we're sticking our head through the hub, this wheel, this axle, the whole of the axle, and we're using the Eye of Providence to look at this universe from a divine perspective. And when we're spiraling up, we're using this Fibonacci sequence. They asked us to do this, so for 55 days, we go 55, 34, and we're going backwards as we spiral up. For 55 days, the underlying energy is Vasundhara, the Earth Star Chakra, our roots, and where we get our nourishment through the roots. Before, I was saying we're slowly unclasping, we're slowly loosening our grip on what we believe is the physical, our attachments to this physicality, and reaching up into spirit. So the wisdom that GUS gave me, spirit through the license plates, yeah, my life is amusing. So this GUS, since Vasundhara is about roots, we're going to talk about the law of attraction for a moment, because the law of attraction is what we send out to the universe is what we get back. And when we engage in the law of attraction, when we first learn of the law of attraction, we learn that our thoughts carry energy, and so we start to learn how to manifest. And what we don't learn right away is that the universe doesn't understand no. So when we ask for something, we say, no more friends. No ryoto. Who asked for that? No more money. Nobody asked for that. No more of this type of contrast. The universe only hears contrast, or the type of contrast. I don't want to be frustrated anymore, is what we're telling the universe, so the universe gives us frustration. Because the only way we're not going to see frustration is by looking at it from a different perspective of our inner being, no matter what's happening. So if we wish to engage in the higher thought forms, what is the opposite? If we can only think of the I don't want this, then what's the opposite? What's the other end of the magic wand for this thing? So instead of we want to reduce the number of roots in this physicality. Okay, well, what's the opposite? Let us start to place roots, plant our roots and extend our roots into spirit. So, and these roots, the way Abraham Hicks talks about this law of attraction, is that let's focus forward. Let's focus on how and where we want to go in our life, full of joy and satisfaction. If we focus on that, all those other vibrations simply will go away on their own, because our awareness is filled with creating the life we wish to create by moving forward, with joy and excitement, with the unfolding of everything. The imagery they gave me a while ago is surfing the crest of the new now. If you're into excitement. So let us imagine growing roots into spirit. And start receiving our nourishment through our roots of spirit. We're on day number 24. So they reminded me earlier, oh gee, well, in the Shine series, we would be finishing up Muladhara, the second chakra, because we're spending 12 days on each of the chakras. Well, here we're spending 55 days on the first leg of this Fibonacci sequence. So we're still going up on one side of the pyramid, up at an angle. And we still have, let's see, 24, 55, we still have 31 days left while we're marching upwards. So we're looking up. We can look back occasionally. And Abraham Hicks isn't saying that we aren't to deal with the contrast that we're experiencing. If we're creating egoically with Manipura, or if we're being really emotional, empaths, when they first come online, some of it, it's difficult to tell whose feelings that they're feeling. I feel feelings. And when I'm around this person, I'm overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed by their feelings. And the only way that I can talk to an empath about that who's having this type of problem is that's why we meditate. We meditate so that we understand our own energy. We understand our emotions in our chakras, and we understand who we are. Because once we understand who we are, when we're interacting and we're feeling those feelings, we now know, oh, these don't feel like mine. Okay. They must be theirs. Excellent. Which helps us detach from and be objective over them. Helps us to observe those emotions. When, as an empath, that when we learn how to be objective over the emotions that aren't ours, that also teaches us how to not attach to all the other situations that we as humans love to attach to. We love to stick our nose in other people's business. We like to offer unsolicited advice. When they're talking, we like to get upset. We like to attach to their experience and not have our own. These are all normal things. So maybe if we understand this, that this is normal for us to do, and it's normal for them to do, that we can be easy on ourselves, and maybe we can be easy on the other people when they're doing the same thing. When we're speaking, and if they're taking it personally, we can pause for a moment. And maybe we can have other words. Maybe we can find a way that we can speak that doesn't carry emotional weight for others. I don't know, just a couple of ideas. But when we observe that other people are getting triggered or getting emotional responses to what we're saying, being aware of it is step one. And empaths, when they come online, it's interesting. Because once they start to understand that these are somebody else's feelings, then they can actually offer services at this point. It's just, I'm really picking this up from you. Okay, you've come to me for healing or for advice, and then when empaths start to understand these feelings, and then maybe they'll get visions associated with these feelings, they can talk to the client in a better light, in a way that they understand. And maybe they just put their hands on, and the information they're getting can help direct the energy. Excuse me. When we start listening to spirit, it comes in many different forms. There are so many that either see spirits, hear spirits. They think they're going crazy when they first get these gifts. My sister-in-law, she's walking through an old house and she gets messages. Somebody's right there and they're talking to her, and she then has to give a message to somebody in the house, and it's really interesting how she broaches that conversation. And then when they receive the message, 99% of the time it's received well, but sometimes people aren't ready for it. But when we have the gift, when we're hearing spirit or seeing spirit or feeling spirit, other people's emotions or things like that, it takes a while for us being human to get used to that. And it takes a while to understand the gift. Maybe at the beginning it's a curse. This is what happens with shamans, over a lot of shamans. Because most of the time shamans aren't. It's not something that you just feel like I need to get training for. Or maybe it is that way. But in near Lake Baikal in Siberia, where shamanism, where the term shaman first came about, and these shamans, there's white shamans and black shamans. The black shamans work with the shadow side. So they start seeing their spirits and start getting information that way. And the white shamans will get it from the alignment side, and the shadow will get it from the contrast side. But if people don't start living their life as a shaman, they start to go crazy, because the spirits, they're not learning to embody their energy. They're not learning to receive the messages that these beings, this part of spirit, is telling them. And they're interacting with them, and they're resistance, yes. This contrast. They're causing contrast inside themselves, and then they go crazy. And they only find relief when they start doing what their inner being is calling them to do. What they came here to do is one way to look at it. But during this series, as we extend roots into spirit, and each root that we place, we're spending 55 days placing roots into spirit to get our nourishment from it. This is what our inner being is doing. And really, it's just putting our roots into our inner being, because our inner being already knows that it's infinite. It already knows how to connect to spirit. As a matter of fact, it believes that it is spirit. Little cramp. So, we're taking it one day at a time. We're gently tuning our vibration. We're spiraling up this great pyramid. That's it. And they're all just images. They're all images. And they're all ideas, and we can resonate with them, or we don't have to resonate with them. But if you're still with me, guess what? What are we going to do? How are we going to do it? We're going to breathe. We're going to chant. And leave all the rest up to our inner being. That's what we're doing. And with the ideas, maybe they'll place into our subconscious. Maybe our inner being will run with them. I didn't plan on talking about GUS and gleefully unlimiting spirit. Or whatever G word that you resonate with, whatever U word, unifying with spirit. How about that? Gleefully unifying with spirit. Or it could be satiety, Instead of, oh, I need to connect in with spirit. Well, let's just work on satisfaction first. Okay? So can we be satisfied with our breath? Can we be satisfied with how we are chanting today? Can we be satisfied with this moment, with this hour that we're spending time chanting and breathing? Satiety, satisfaction, is a form of alignment. So is gratitude. So is joy. It doesn't have to be joy. It could just be, oh, I'm happy now. Yes, I'm happy now. I'm joyous now. I'm less stressed now. I'm relaxed now. They're all the same thing of alignment. They're forms of alignment. Because when we're relaxed, we are less resistant to spirit, to information, less resistant to all the frustrations of life, all, and our body and our cells can just relax into their most natural state, their stasis. It's well-being. So they start functioning properly. And maybe we start eating and fueling our bodies so that it has all of the things to build our cells properly. And as we grow roots into spirit, that we learn to trust our inner being more, spirit more, trust the unknown, trust that spirit has our back, no matter how we see this situation, that the universe is working with our vibration, with our core vibration, and with our thoughts, and with our words, and with our actions. And the more we align with our inner being, the more our actions and words and thoughts will be in alignment. And it just starts by relaxing. So, I invite you to lie down, or sit in seated meditation. I invite you to settle in, get comfortable, maybe straighten your spine. As we close our eyes and focus awareness on the breath, as we begin to lengthen our breath and deepen our breath. Awareness of the sound of our breath. Awareness of the temperature as we breathe in. Awareness of the temperature as we breathe out. Awareness of how it feels when we fill up our lungs. And awareness of how it feels as we exhale. as we feel how it feels to breathe in. And we feel how it feels to breathe out. A few more breaths on your own. Now let us focus our awareness on the heart center. For in our heart center is the home of our holy fire, Nyariyasha Hotoro, the holy fire. And every breath that we take, fans the flames of our holy fire and brightens our already bright light. Making cracks in the imprints of living, the debris of living, the blockages of living, the challenges of living. And the obstacles of living. As the holy fire and the bright light make cracks, make way through. Helping to dissolve. Helping to free. And let us start the divine flow if you have not done so already. Let us take this energy from our heart center and move it up through the chakras. Through Vishuddha, through Anya, through Sahasrara, through Vyapini, moving up through the realms, moving through the dimensions of this physicality, to the edge of the matrix, to the edge of reality, what we call reality, and entering into the highest source of consciousness through the ideas of Rita, divine order, Vikara, divine action, and Shrishti, divine creation. And in this highest source of consciousness, there is no ego. There is no judgment. There is only total acceptance, which is unconditional love, Niharata Sakata, presence, simply awareness, consciousness, where it always respects free will. And the power is unlimited. So let's bring back more pure holy fire. Non-judgmental, totally accepting holy fire. Through the ideas of Shrishti, Vikara, Rita, back into this matrix of separation, down through the realms, unifying, through Vyapini, purifying and unifying, through Sahasrara, purifying and unifying, through Anya, purifying and unifying, yes, through Vishuddha, purifying and and unifying. Well done. And back into Anahata, the heart center. Purifying and unifying. Now let us ground this energy effectively. Bringing this energy down through the chakras, down through Manipura, purifying and unifying. Down through Svadhisthana, purifying and unifying. Through Muladhara, purifying and unifying. Through Vasundhara, purifying and unifying. Now growing roots down into Mother Earth and into Spirit. And into the spirit of Gaia. Niyarasa atur ushukata. Down, down, down. Wrapping these roots around the heart of Gaia. Niyarasa atur yoto. The heart of this physicality. Giving her a great big hug. And receiving the reminder, the gentle reminder, that not only is Gaia of spirit, that we are spirit. Having this physical experience, including Gaia, she's having this physical experience. And bringing back her grounded love, through all of the roots into spirit, through Vasundhara, Muladhara, Svadhisthana, Manipura, and back into Anahata, our heart center. Now let us turn over to our inner being to continue this divine flow without any conscious thought whatsoever. Siku ushoyo o tahatari hisana atakari hashohuku utu asahanati arihatata kaharata. And now on the exhale, with intention, with conscious intention and sankalpa from our inner being, let us push this energy out from our heart center, out from our physical bodies, out of our auric field, and into every aspect of our awareness. In every way, and everywhere, and every when. Effortlessly, naturally, completely. So the format for this meditation, we will start off with one Aum, the primordial sound of the universe. We will chant Om Mani Padme Hum 108 times using the Mala of Joy. When we're on the last one, the Koshi chime will remind us, and we will transition with one Aum. After a few breaths, there'll be a gentle reminder, and we're switching the chant to Om, Ah, Hung. And after a few more breaths, we will transition with one Aying, Aying. And we will chant Om, Ah, Hung 36 times. Koshi chime at the end will let us know when we're on the last one. And we will close out with one Aying. And a breath in for Aum. And a breath in to chant. Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Om Mani Padme Hum.
Padme Hum. Om Mani 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 Mani Padme Hum. Om 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 Mani Padme Hum.
And a breath in for Aum. And a gentle reminder that we are switching the chant to Om Hum. And a breath in for Aying. And a breath in to chant. breath in for aying. Stay here for as long as you like. Maybe even pause the video to spend more time in the energy. When you are ready, slowly bring your awareness back to the here and now, to this present moment. Maybe wiggle your fingers and toes, invite in some gentle movements, maybe shrug your shoulders, move your head and neck a little, and when you are ready, slowly open your eyes and welcome in the new now. Hututu u tadara hisaya akashi hisuturu hutara herta. Hasihiki achata kusho uno hurutuko. Congratulations, my friends. Nioko toro utoro. We have completed day number 24. Tisahika atara yatara of being, blissful existence, illuminating and nurturing grace. As we, GUS, grow and unify with spirit, grow and unify with satisfaction, as we gleefully unlimit spirit. There's so many different things. It was so funny seeing that license plate and knowing that it was something so. But what does it mean to you? Which is the whole thing here. What does it mean to you? What did today's meditation, today's chanting mean for you? What were you aware of? I encourage you to journal. Whether you write yourself an email like I do, or you write in pen and paper in a journal, it does not matter. Make yourself a video recording, an audio recording, or any other method of capturing, draw, light script, speak light language. Whatever makes your heart sing. Water is life, my friends. Many things, many things. Breathe through everything, please. Mantra, the tool of the mind. I encourage you to derive meaning from each of the mantras. No matter who's leading your time with chanting, what is the wisdom that comes up for you? Or what comes up for you? Write it down. Whether it's from the seeds, like how I speak at the beginning, or whether it's the seeds that your inner being is planting because you are chanting. It does not matter. This is the beauty of mantra. Is what you get from it. I'll tell the story again. Om Mani Padme Hum. I always knew it was a magical chant. And when I chant it, yes, I have my own experience with it. I didn't always resonate with Om Mani Padme Hum. To me, I was taught. I'm a recovering Catholic. I grew up in the Catholic Church. Mother and father were deeply embedded in the church, and I was praying from an early age. But I was taught to pray in my own room by myself. We never sat in the front row, the front pews, and it was our time with God, with Jesus, with the Holy Spirit, with God. And to not be the people in the front row who wanted to be seen praying. And I saw most people who wore malas or used malas, wore malas, or talked about chanting Om Mani Padme Hum in that light. To me, if I'm going to chant it, I'm chanting it for me, not to be seen chanting it. But this was me. We're talking about me. I'm not trying to put judgment across. And then one meditation, I'm sitting there, the vision that came in, that me and a very spiritual friend of mine were going to journey to obtain the Cintamani stone, this magical, in mythology, yes, the stone, it's a legit real thing, they're telling me. But in mythology, there is this one stone, meteorite, that landed on Earth that was magic seen in mythology. The people who used it to normal humans, it seemed like they were manifesting wishes. They were creating wishes with it. So it got the name Cintamani stone. And there are many meteorites. I don't purchase Cintamani stones. They come to me as a gift and they leave as a gift. That's how I'm manifesting these. So this Cintamani stone, in this vision, we were traveling to obtain the Cintamani stone. This was a vision. I wasn't driving it. I'm witnessing it unfold. And I had total faith in his connection to spirit, his ability to utilize the holy fire, to be present with divine energy. As we got closer and closer to the Cintamani stone in a castle of ruin, just like a movie, we heard a voice in our heads. I see you coming. You don't believe I see you coming? You will not obtain what you're coming for. You will end up like all the rest. Okay. We look at each other. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? We continue along the path. We're not deterred by it. Definitely egoically driven. And we're walking along this path. And finally, we get to the edge of the castle in ruin. And again, we hear this voice, deep resonating voice of a dragon. If you want to live, turn back now. You will not get what you came for. We continue walking forward. And we come into the entrance of the, through the rubble, the ruin of the walls of this castle, and into the great big courtyard. And we're walking in, and all of a sudden, this big blast of fire comes from this fire-breathing dragon. We both run and dive behind two different rocks, and we were safe from the first blast. I see you are foolish. I didn't know what to do. He didn't know what to do. He's sitting there behind his, and we can feel the heat every time this dragon blasts. His ego kicks in. He stands up And he thinks he's all spiritually protected. And he walks towards the dragon. He's now a pile of ashes. I witness that and I go, huh. And Spirit tells me, chant Om Mani Padme Hum. At that point, Om Mani Padme Hum. And I'm sitting there and I'm chanting. I'm even doing the mudra. Om Mani Padme Hum. And that's all I was doing. I was just chanting. It seemed like forever. And I'm just chanting. And I'm just chanting. And I allowed the chant to be my awareness. And then Spirit said, it is time to stand up. So I stood up. I continued to chant. Om Mani Padme Hum. And I turned around and I faced the dragon. I walked and I continued to chant. Om Mani Padme Hum. As I continued. And the dragon's talking to me. Om Mani Padme Hum. As I continue to walk, he takes a big breath in as Om Mani Padme Hum. I was aware of the fire as I continued to walk, and it was shielded from me. It passed right through me. The fire did not interact with me. I was aware of the fire, of this dragon's breath, this magical dragon's breath. I did not try to logic it, to understand what was going on. Om Mani Padme Hum, as I continued. And another breath of fire. I was aware of it. Om Mani Padme Hum, my focus on it did not allow the interaction with it, so therefore it did no damage to me. I continued to chant. The dragon tried to swipe and do other things, nothing. Get my hands on the Cintamani stone. I touch it, decided while I'm chanting, I don't need this. This is a thing. I do not need this thing to grant me wishes. I put it down, continue chanting as I walk out. Om Mani Padme Hum. One more breath of fire as it does not, I'm aware of it. I do not interact with it. I just chant. I'm not analyzing, I'm aware. As I left. As soon as I was clear, I came out of meditation, the vision, and I'm going, okay. Om Mani Padme Hum. Shika atuta harsana akachisa hayatatarata. As I've explained in other videos, this Mala of Joy is modeled after Samavriti Pranayama. And our breathing in is the Om. The holding the breath with a full set of lungs is the Mani. The out-breath is the Padme, us radiating outward. And us holding our breath with an empty set of lungs is the Hum. But they also represent the four elements also. It represents the physicality and the cycles of life. Om Mani Padme Hum. But when we chant it and embody it in the heart, when we chant it from the heart of awareness. Om Mani Padme Hum folds into just one chant of awareness. This is what they were telling me while I was chanting today. It's just one chant of awareness. Besides all the component pieces, the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. And these are the things that are possible when we gleefully unify with spirit. Which to me, if there's any purpose of this meditation series, this is it. Yes, I thank you for sharing in my highest bliss. One last thing. I've received so many phone calls, texts, and communications from so many different people. There's like 4 or 5 of you left that still need to. Well, I haven't checked my phone while we're doing this, so maybe some more of you have. There's one in particular. You know who you are. Spirit says you're stressed about it. Don't be stressed. Life isn't worth living being stressed. And life isn't worth living playing what if. So when you are ready, no matter what, I hope that you drop the worry and live your life with joy. But if I may help in any way, shape, or form, it will be my highest bliss. So shine on with your inner being. Effortlessly, naturally, completely. And make it a great day. Because why would you leave it up to anyone else? Nehakachi aturu uto kasha iekoharata anahita.